It's showtime.
It's the pre-party with J. Cal.
We are professional wrestling.
I'm building an alliance.
You are tuned into
the absolute top of the mountain, the ultimate professional wrestling.
Alliance-wrestling.com.
What is up, everybody? Oh, I look out of focus. Let's fix that, huh? What is up, everyone? How are you? This is the pre-party. My name is J. Cal, and every Tuesday at this time, 5 we're live, 2 on the West Coast, and we're here to talk about the National Wrestling Alliance and the United Wrestling Network. And each and every week, we're here to join with you to talk about the late-breaking news, the information, what's the going on, what's the happenings of the NWA. And I'm glad you guys are here. I see that the room is already filling out. Whoa, please don't. You don't want me to, woo! All right, sorry. So there's a couple of you already in the room. I see my buddy Heebs is here, Bobby Petito, the matchmaker Bobby Petito. Dodie is in the house. Terry McDermott's here. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys checking us out every Tuesday here on YouTube or on twitch.tv. And you could also catch us, I don't know if you were aware of this, but we do a post show on Thursdays. Now, last Thursday, because it was Thanksgiving here in the United States, we ran a special on the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Got a lot of great feedback from that. So we will be airing more episodes of the Pound for Pound, probably in that same time slot as the holidays approach. But I'm really glad you guys had fun with that. We did too. So it's really cool that everyone was into it. I see that Pro Wrestling Zone is in the podcast. PWZ's here. Welcome, Rick. Lamb's here. Dave Scooby's here. So the whole party's here. It's like a reunion. I feel like it's been such a long time since I've seen you guys, and it's only been a week. Now, real quick, I did want to talk about my friends who recently sent me a t-shirt. And pardon me just for a second. I have to look at some stuff real quick. I don't want to get my story incorrect. Yes, the oops. The Westside Middle School Pro Wrestling Club sent me this nifty shirt. You can follow them on Twitter. In fact, I'm gonna put that link here in the comments section. That's what I was looking for. So I don't know if you guys are super familiar with them, but I met the administrator for that group back at the first TV taping in Atlanta. He was carrying an NWA television title belt. In fact, it wasn't a whole lot unlike this one you see here, except for he had the black strap. And, I had to, at the time, give him a hard time about it because, well, it was the wrong color. Everyone knows that the red strap is far superior to its brother, the black strap. But anyways, Dustin Davis, the administrator, great dude. We started talking, and I'm not saying that I'm responsible because he made the connections and he talked to the people and he really put in the work. Firefly, I don't know why my aspect ratio is messed up on my camera. What's wrong with it? Yeah, I don't know, man. But thanks for tuning in, Firefly. Anyways, meeting Dustin Davis, and I introduced him to Kyle Davis, no relation. He introduced him to Dave Lagana, who was still with the company, and it really kind of got the ball rolling for the club. And so I'm kind of proud to say that I helped the Westside Middle School, the Pro Wrestling Club, to kind of get in contact with the NWA in a very small, minute fashion. And thanks to that, Dustin sent me this cool t-shirt, so I'm repping it today. The Westside Pro Wrestling Club. You can follow them on Twitter. Like I said, the link is in the comments. Firefly, I get what you're saying, and I honestly don't know what to do to fix that. I just don't even know. I mean, I could troubleshoot it here on online. I mean, let's see. Let's see what I can do with the settings here. Well, at this point, nothing. Yeah, sorry. It is what it is, Firefly. Yeah, so that was kind of cool, and I wanted to say thank you to Dustin for sending me this cool shirt. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate little the little things, right? When people are kind and you kind of help the ball get rolling for them, and they say thank you. That's gratitude is a very big thing, especially in this industry. If you don't show the right kind of gratitude, it's a very tough world to survive in if you're not grateful for the things that you get. But moving right along, let's talk about the NWA. Of course, we are days away from hard times, but before Trevor Murdoch can get to hard times, he's got to go to SICW, and he's got to face Attila Khan. Now, for those of you who aren't super familiar with Attila Khan, don't be mad. Neither am I. But Attila Khan is a guy who's been basically going after it for the last 20 years out there in the Midwest, specifically in the St. Louis area. He and Trevor Murdoch were at the World League Wrestling, later World Legion Wrestling. I think I said that backwards. They were at World Legion Wrestling and later World League Wrestling at around the same time. And Attila Khan got to see Trevor Murdoch come into the business, and was always kind of the ace, if you will, the understudy of Harley Race. So it's very fitting that these two will be meeting each other in St. Louis, and I know that's part of the St. Louis Hall of Fame ceremonies. I know that there's going to be a lot of recognition going on. It's a very big deal for SICW, and we wish them all the best on the event that is happening. I think tomorrow. Yeah, December the 1st, tomorrow. So, if Trevor Murdoch is still World's Heavyweight Champion after tomorrow night, he then heads to Hard Times 2 to defend the title against, a guy who, basically earned his shot at the belt by throwing Trevor's kid on the ground. So the booking on this one's a little strange, but certainly I'd be willing to fight the guy who put their hands on my kid, so I can completely understand that. The whole card is starting to shape up. We're even getting more matches announced. Of course, just announced a few days ago, Mickie James Aldis will be defending the Impact Women's Championship against Kiera Hogan, which, that looks like a pretty good matchup. But we did kind of see that already on Empower. We got to see that matchup. So I'm not sure what putting the title on the line is going to change that one. But then also we're going to have Jack Stane, who looked like he wasn't even going to be on the card. He will be in action against Mims, the local favorite in Atlanta. Really, Mims is kind of like the favorite everywhere. The cool thing about Mims is he could say that he wrestled on the first episode of NWA Power, and here it is. We're in year basically 3, and he's been a part of the show, a very vital part of the show. And 2022 could be the year that Mims really kind of breaks it with the NWA. We'll see what happens. Of course, there's a lot of things, a lot of moving pieces within the NWA right now. And I'm kind of curious as to what you guys are most excited about. What are you guys looking forward to most at Hard Times 2? And real quick, I'll give you a rundown of the pay-per-view. I won't be as eloquent as our fearless leader, William Patrick Corgan, but I can give you some of the information. We know that Mick Foley will be in town representing Santa Claus. The 12-man gauntlet match is going to feature 12 men competing for a spot to wrestle for the World Junior Heavyweight Championship. And we know Jeremiah Plunkett, Victor Benjamin, PJ Hawk, Luke Hawk, Ari Davari, Darius Lockhart, Homicide, C.W. Anderson, Sal Renaro, Kenny Morton, Jamie Stanley, and Alex Taylor will all be a part of that. Some of those names might be unfamiliar to you guys. Some of them you should know by now, and if not, you'll be introduced, I'm sure. International superstar Doug Williams will come in to face Colby Carino. We've got Austin Aries and Rhett Titus, which, on paper sounds pretty awesome for the World Junior Heavyweight qualifying match. Aldis versus Latimer with the stipulation that all seconds are barred from ringside. Any DQ results in both men being suspended for 8 weeks. That's a long time in the world of the National Wrestling Alliance. The Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles will be on the line as the original Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, will take on the team of Aaron Stevens and JR Kratos. Have you guys been seeing some of the cryptic tweets we're hearing from Aaron Stevens as of late? One of them was the handcuff tweet that he posted, and most recently he's saying that he's been playing the good old soldier, and now it's time for a change. He even mentioned that this could be his last match in the NWA, which I don't know why you would announce that unless something specific was going to happen. Then for the national championship will be on the line. I think this will be Chris Adonis' second title defense as champion, which is really sad and pathetic if you think about it. He'll be wrestling Judas. The TV title will be on the line when Tyrus defends against Scion. No time limit, no DQ, special referee, the Pope. This could either be really good for Tyrus or really, really bad, depending on how much money he's paid out. You got the women's tag team titles on the line with Team Hex defending against Kylie Ray, Tootie Lynn, and the new team of Lady Frost and Natalia Markova. Natalia Markova is a heck of a lot more talented than you think. And if you don't know who she is, you'll be happy to know her after this match. La Rebellion defend the tag team titles against The End. Camille defends against Melina. And, of course, Trevor Murdoch will be facing Mike Knox. Mike mother stinking Knox. Pardon my French there. So which matches are you guys most excited about? We just ran down the card, and probably the quickest rundown I've ever been a part of. Let's get to your comments. Let's see what you guys are saying. Dodie says, of course, there's no Corgan's NWA show without Mims. I mean, say what you will about Mims, but that guy's been proving himself to be a reliable asset for the company. And he's really the only talent that's genuinely been homegrown in the NWA, right? Because you could say Jordan Clearwater, but let's not forget Jordan Clearwater's been grinding his teeth out here in Southern California, whether it be a part of the Empire Wrestling Federation, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and the United Wrestling Network, or even the Level Up Pro Wrestling in San Diego. He's very much been making a name for himself long before he started with the NWA. Slice Boogie, a product of the Santino Brothers Wrestling Dojo out here in Southern California, as well as wrestling on the regular for the for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Most recently was one half of the United Wrestling Network Tag Team Champions. So, I mean, needless to say, both those guys you can't really consider to be homegrown, right? You could say Colby Carino, but if anyone who's followed Colby Carino's career, I mean, that kid's been wrestling since he was like 6 years old. And I know that sounds awfully glib, but he certainly has been a part of the wrestling business for a very long time. His association with the NWA is good for him, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't call him a homegrown talent. And then you see a guy like Jeremiah Plunkett, who is a genuine artifact, the real deal, an NWA talent through and through. But, I mean, he was a part of the NWA even before Mr. William Patrick Corgan purchased the NWA. So guys like him and Jack Stain, I wouldn't say they're homegrown Lightning One NWA talents, but Mims is. And I think that's pretty special. And that can mean a whole lot for the NWA down the road. And as the NWA continues to grow, I mean, we see this bolstered roster, right? Hard Times 2 has got the most robust roster we've seen the NWA ever have. And that's including the time that Scott Steiner was there. That includes the time that Tim Storm was still an active competitor. I mean, the entire show has changed so much. And we're looking at a roster that just looks amazing. And there's a lot of very talented individuals on this roster. This is going to be a good pay-per-view. I genuinely believe that. Lamb says Mims versus Jax was added. Yeah, our good friend Roscoe saw that and shared it in the Discord. You guys, if you're not on our Discord server, you could get the link. I believe it's in the podcast description. You could just follow the link and you get in that Discord. Hey, Fiona. I'm glad you've been around too. You got a 13-year-old birthday party tomorrow? enjoy. I've got a 17-year-old, a 8-year-old, and a 7-year-old, so I know how it goes. Bobby Petito, the matchmaker, wants to see Jack Stane versus Trevor Murdoch. I mean, last week, did we not just hear Jack Stane more or less forfeit his shot at that Worlds Heavyweight Championship? Did he really throw away his opportunity? I mean, if that's the case, yikes. Sean Mega says Aldis versus Latimer is the real main event. I mean, there's some truth to that, right? A lot of us are going to be watching that match very intently. The storyline that's really the longest running storyline in the National Wrestling Alliance in the modern era, right? Because for all that time that Nick Aldis and Strictly Business kind of ran roughshod over the NWA, Latimer was his guy. Latimer was his muscle. Latimer was his insurance policy, along with Camille. Don't get me wrong. Camille was the true insurance policy. But now that Camille has emerged as the true national treasure, I mean, I guess it's only fitting that now Tom is really the insurance policy in this whole deal. So, yeah, Aldis versus Latimer is going to be a very solid match. There's a lot of matches on this card that look really, really good on paper. Let's not sleep on La Rebellion versus The End. If you're a fan of tag team wrestling, there are two matches that made a lot of sense, right? And it could have really gone either way. Hawk Ari matching up against La Rebellion. If you know the history of La Rebellion, Amaria, the stable from the Crash Lucha Libre in Mexico, that actually included Luke Hawk. So those guys know each other very well, are very familiar, and the styles mash really, really well, with Bestia 666 being more of a high-risk, high-flyer, kind of similar to how PJ Hawk, who combines modern grappling with some very high-flying maneuvers. And then you've got Luke Hawk, who's kind of the power of the group, more grounded, more mat wrestling. And then you could say the same thing about Mecha Wolf, who, I mean, he does fly on occasion, but is more grounded, more of a in-ring competitor as opposed to a high flyer. So like that match, to me, I think that's going to be very good too. And the crazy thing about it is La Rebellion is going to be in Mexico the day before with the Crash and MLW. So they're not going to be on that first TV taping that they're doing for the new weekly show, because they're going to be working with MLW. And I know this is kind of a weird dichotomy because MLW and the NWA aren't exactly on the same page. They're not really working together, but a lot of their talents are kind of now appearing on the other shows. Slice Boogie is one half of the MLW tag team champions. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen his name connected to this pay-per-view, but as far as I know, he's still part of the NWA. Unless they got filtered out, which could be the case. Doty says that he's interested with the junior heavyweight gauntlet. And Trevor and Mike Knox actually also is interesting to him. And I could see, like, from this, I don't really care for the build for Trevor and Mike Knox, but I am excited to see the match. And the reason being is because these two are heavy hitters. They're brawlers. These guys aren't going to go out there and try to do real solid wrestling, right? They're not going to grapple. We're not going to see a lot of submissions. We're not going to see a lot of takedowns or, collegiate style of wrestling. This is going to be an ass-kicking contest. And they're both going to go out there throwing, haymaker after haymaker. They're going to try to land that one kick, that one punch, that one game changer, if you will. Murdoch's going to be looking for that bulldog. I'm not even sure what Knox is going to be looking for, but they're both going to be looking for that knockout punch. It's not going to be a match where they're going to try to wear each other down. And if the longer the match goes, both of them are going to suffer because, neither one of them are work rate guys. And that's not to be insulting. That's just the fact of it. He suggests that there will be a tag team title change in the women's division. I mean, I feel like that's very premature. But Tootie Lynn Ramsey's really gotten a lot of play from the NWA since they found her before the TV tapings and a pay-per-view in St. Louis. And I really feel like she has a lot of potential to become something very special for the NWA, while they also have Kylie Ray. Now they tried to put that pair together already once. Of course, with Kylie Ray, we know that her mental health sometimes has some struggles, and she's been known to take breaks from wrestling, and she did that ahead of that women's tag team match she should have had back at By Any Means Necessary, but that match is on, and now they're adding a third element with Lady Frost, who, let's be honest, Lady Frost is the most polished wrestler in the NWA. You hear me say it week in and week out. I'm not going to take it back. She's phenomenal. And she'll be teaming with Natalia Markova, who is, from Russia with Love. She's the the Shimmer champion. She is a very qualified competitor. So to have her a part of this show, I mean, honestly, maybe she should be in the ring against Camille. But anyways, yeah, the women's division is starting to heat up. That tag team division. I think it's pretty cool that we're going to have Kiera Hogan back. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of them running back the same gimmicks and the same matches that they've already done. Now I know the Impact title's on the line, so it's a little bit different. But I mean, Kiera Hogan left Impact to pursue AEW, and now she's wrestling in the NWA for the AEW championship. For the Impact championship. It just seems a little convoluted, a little bit too much for me. But I'm sure we'll get a good match out of it. Dodie says Latimer needs to win unless Billy has no clue on how to push him. And I really feel like there needs to be a winner. You can't have a screw job. You can't really you can't have these guys sitting at home for the next 8 weeks. Now, I know when that Jericho cruise comes up, right? That Jericho cruise, I know Aldis and Mickey are supposed to be a part of it. Hopefully that doesn't impact any of those TV tapings that are scheduled down the road or interfere with Crockett Cup or anything like that. I'm sure it won't, but it'll be interesting, And again, I agree with you. I think at this point in time, if Latimer doesn't get a W soon, Latimer becomes basically inconsequential, which how could a guy who's 6'4", who moves around the ring like a damn cruiserweight and can do power moves, can do high flying moves. I mean, he is the total package. And I don't mean Lex Luger. I mean, he's really one of the best all around performers that the NWA has. If you can't find a way to utilize him and make him a success in your ring, then cut the man loose, let him go and let him find more opportunity, because I can't see him not being a number one contender for the 10 pounds of gold. Bobby Petito is looking for the Darius Lockhart wrestling in the NWA. I mean, he famously had that promo, unsolicited promo for the NWA about how there's the last NWA World Champion who was of color, person of color, was Ron Killings. He could fix that. The promo itself was great. The delivery was great. I'm not super familiar with his in-ring abilities, but sometimes if you could tell a good story, that's all you need. And if Darius Lockhart can come out here and really take advantage of these opportunities that are in front of him, of course, the World Junior Heavyweight Championship, but let's not forget there's still a national title, there's still a television title, there's tag team titles. Somebody who can really come in and get people's attention is certainly going to do wonders for the NWA, and I'm looking forward to it. Dodie says Aaron Stevens needs to go back to being a goofy heel again, and Kratos needs to be a single monster heel. All right, can Jay fantasy book for a minute? Can I? Let's do it. I think how I would do this right now was I would have Kratos be recruited to join what is now the new Strictly business or new business, whatever you want to call them. I don't think they have an actual name anymore, because a pairing of him and Adonis and Latimer and Camille, you have some of the most powerful people in the company, both figurative and literally. And he could do some damage. And if you put him in that TV title picture, or you put him in the national title picture, if Adonis happens to lose the belt, you have a very strong individual. Watching him in the New Japan Strong promotion and seeing him in the ring with guys, I feel like we're we don't get the real Kratos. I feel like we get a watered down version of Kratos, and I really feel like that's a shame. Lamb, Adonis's first title defense was against JTG, Jay the God. Remember when he being Adonis won the championship? He won it from an injured Trevor Murdoch. He never had a title defense his first run as world champion. He forfeited the title to be a part of the battle royal that was supposed to get a shot at Aldis for the 10 pounds of gold, but everything got kerfluffled, if I could steal a Gary Hornism. Everything got messed up because Trevor Murdoch still won that battle royal. And then we saw, of course, what happens at When Our Shadows Fall. Trevor got screwed by Aldis and company. And and so Adonis had to regain that title through a couple of matches. I wouldn't even call it a real tournament because it wasn't much of a tournament. A couple of elimination matches, triple threat matches, and then all of a sudden he's champion again. I believe he defeated JTG to win the title in the finals of that, and then defended against him shortly thereafter. And since then hasn't defended the title since. Did he defend against James Storm? Okay, so this is his third title defense then. Or maybe I'm mixing it all up. You know what? I have a computer right here. I can look this up. Hold on, guys. I'm right here. I will find this information out for you right now. And if you guys ever need to find stuff about wrestling and you don't know where to look, cagematch.net is a very beneficial resource. As national champion, yes, Adonis did defeat James Storm. There was not a title match against JTG, but something none of us knew, that on September the 5th, 2021, at the IWC Unbreakable in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania, Chris Adonis defeated Tito Oric in a national heavyweight title match. I didn't know that. Did you? See, you learned something today, guys. And that's what's the best thing about this show, is we all learn something. Sometimes I learn how to use my computer or not use my camera correctly, right, Firefly? Lamb just said, Firefly says Jax Dane is going to steamroll him. Firefly, I sure hope you're right, man, because as much as I think Mims is a great talent, as much as I like Mims as an athlete, as much as I want to see Mims succeed in the NWA, I want Jax Dane to steamroll everyone who they put in front of him. Now, when he was on our podcast not too long ago, and I can make that link available here in the chat too, Jax, did, when he was on the interview with us, he mentioned that, hey, if he wants, he could go challenge for that TV title, and he could take on the winner of Scion or Tyrus. And if that were to happen, I mean, are you telling me that Jax Dane couldn't deadlift, the 500-pound, 475-pound, whatever it is, Tyrus? Because I'm pretty sure he could. By the way, if you want to check that interview out, I just said it in the comment section. You can check it out after the show's over, or maybe even after the 10 pounds of gold, whichever you choose. Mega says, I hope this is Tyrus's last show. Man, I don't think you're the only one who feels that way, Sean. I really don't. As much as, I see him everywhere with a TV title. I see him on Fox News with it, and that's great. It's good to see that belt out there being circulated in the media. He's just such an unlikable guy. And, I guess it's all political wherever you stand politically. Personally, I don't like the Tyrus that's presented on my television, either on Fight TV or on Fox News. So I don't find him to be the most enjoyable person to watch. In the ring, he's not as good as I would have hoped. He's not even as good as what he was in the WWE. And the guy falls slow. I mean, anyways, Sean Mega says Colby Corino. And I think that was into when I was speaking about homegrown talent. But I don't think Colby Corino, I would not give him a homegrown status for the NWA. He's barely been there for 2 shows. And he's not homegrown to the NWA. He's done way more work on the indies. He's more well known on the indies. I mean, he at one point had the opportunity to go wrestle for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Personal demons caught up to him at a young age, and it never worked out for him. But he is not. He is not a homegrown NWA talent. I can't agree with you on that one. Bobby Batito says that Natalia Markova has wrestled before on AEW and Shine Wrestling. Maybe she is the Shine champion. Maybe I got it mixed up. But yeah, she's a good-looking lady. And I heard she does really well in the ring. Doty says it's unfortunate that Trevor doesn't participate in WrestleCade, but to make up for that, he'll be participating in the St. Louis Hall of Fame celebration. And NWA finally has a presence in St. Louis again for now. Look, I think it's a foregone conclusion, and nobody is smarting me up to this. Maybe Gary Horn knows. Maybe the folks that This Is Pro Wrestling knows. Or maybe this is being tight-lipped with Billy Corgan. But for all intents and purposes, I'm pretty sure you're going to see the NWA back in St. Louis at some point in 2022. Maybe a couple of times. Who knows? The pay-per-view looked amazing at the Chase. The TV shows looked like garbage. And I'm just being completely honest. At a lot of points, being in that venue, it was distracting for the TV show. It looked great on the pay-per-view both nights in Power and for the 73rd anniversary, but the TV just didn't cut the mustard. So I don't know how I feel about that. Doty says Victor Benjamin. Sorry, I lost my setup here. Victor Benjamin, Lady Frost's Victor Benjamin seems an interesting participant in the Junior Gauntlet. Looking forward to seeing him. Yes, the thing I really like about Victor Benjamin is the guy really looks like a great competitor. I'll be honest, I haven't seen a lot of his in-ring work, but he has that look, that je ne sais quoi, if you will. When you see him, you think that dude's a wrestler. You don't like, oh, what, see a fireman? No, that dude's a pro wrestler. And much like when Lady Frost steps out there, as soon as she steps out behind the curtain, she gets your attention like that. And Victor Benjamin, I think, has the same potential. But I got to be honest, I haven't seen much of his in-ring work. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the ring. But as of right now, I mean, he can go out there and lay an egg. He might be awful. I just don't think he is. NWA Gold is in the house. If you guys have not subscribed yet to the NWA Gold, make sure you check them out. NWA Gold is actually a big part of what we do here at the Alliance blog. He's volunteering to donate one of his replica championship belts to the greater good, to the cause, if you will. And we'll be giving that championship belt away. It's a replica of the Crown Championship, the title that was defended from 1959 to 1973. It was the belt held by such greats like Harley Race, like Dory Funk Jr., like Gene Kaninsky. And so once we hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, hint, if you haven't subscribed yet, do so, please. We're going to be giving that belt away to one of you subscribers. And I'm going to be perfectly honest right here and tell you, like, there are not 1,000 people who are going to be in that competition for that title belt, but there will be a number very close to that. But, you know, I'm not putting my family members into that drawing, and nobody who works on this show will be a part of the drawing. So you do have an opportunity to win that belt. And fingers crossed, I hope it's you, whoever you are. Doty pulls out that Crimson will accompany Mims, and it looks like there'll be something twisting. I mean, cool. I don't know where they want to go with this. I really feel like we got the end of the angle by any means necessary. If I'm booking the NWA, I mean, Crimson is such a great talent. Jax Dane is such a great talent. They were awesome together as a tag team. You made the conscious decision to decouple them, which is fine. That's okay. But let's now have them pursue other interests. There's a national championship that leads you to the world's heavyweight title. Chris Adonis is sitting on the number one contendership by being the national champion. If the television champion can win 7 matches in a row, then this title becomes a ticket to the 10 pounds of gold. So, I mean, for both men, like, let's not do this anymore for free. Let's do this when a title's on the line and when it means something, because as it stands, like, I just don't get it. I don't see the value in it. I think it's time to move on. And then Firefly says, let's not forget Adonis is holding a title as long as he has, despite his plot armor. Yeah, the plot armor, it is what it is. Bobby Petito says, I would like to see Tracy Williams get an opportunity to wrestle on the NWA. I mean, you and me both, Bobby. There's a lot of great talent from Ring of Honor that is now available. And who knows, right? Who knows who's going to get picked up? I certainly do not. But the problem comes, and the problem is where are you going to put all these guys? Where are you going to put them all? Because the NWA isn't at a point yet where it could really, like, absorb an entire roster. This isn't AEW, right? AEW is literally doing 2 hours of Dynamite, an hour of Rampage, and then like 2 hours a week of Elevation and Dark. I mean, that's a lot of programming they have to fill. They could do it. They have the payroll. They have the resources. The NWA just isn't there. Like, not even close. It's not even comparing apples to oranges. It's comparing apples to, like, watermelons. We're not there. Doesn't mean at some point the NWA can't be there. Doesn't mean that the NWA isn't efforting to be there. But, I mean, there's so many guys on that roster who would instantly make the NWA better today. Whether it be Tracy Williams, Taylor Rust, Brody King, PCO, Danhausen, Bandito, Jonathan Gresham, Dalton Castle. I mean, we could start listing everybody on that show. And, when you get to names like Matt Taven and Michael Bennett, Rhett Titus, I mean, these are guys who I'd all like to see stay in the NWA. Silas Young is another guy who makes a lot of sense for the NWA. But again, they can't house everybody. And Doty's predicting that the end will put La Rebellion into the end. Now, that's an interesting concept, and it's for multiple reasons, right? Because La Rebellion has been a fairly well-known tag team before they entered the NWA, but it's gotten to a point now, right, where La Rebellion is wrestling in Puerto Rico, defending. They're not defending the NWA tag titles, but they're actually challenging the Lucha Bros, who I believe are still currently the AEW tag team champions. They're the Crash tag team champions and have opportunity to work with Crash all the time. When they were first introduced, they said that they were on loan from AAA. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't seen either one of them compete in AAA. But again, these guys are a solid, very good tag team that don't necessarily need the NWA. I mean, the real travesty of all of this is their first title defense. None of the matches that they've had in Mexico were NWA World Tag Team title matches. And unfortunately, the matches that they had in the NWA thus far have been non-title as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm not going to write them off yet, but know that I will be seeing them on December the 3rd in Tijuana with the MLW. If I get an opportunity, I'm going to ask, what's next for La Rebellion? Like they'll tell me. Bobby Petito says he wants to see Camille versus Trish Adora. I'm not super familiar with Trish Adora, but I know Camille is a monster, and she's going to steamroll over everyone. Sean Mega said, Aldis spoke highly of Odinson and Lockhart on Conan's show, and I expect a huge push for Lockhart. I remember this might have even been the Pro Wrestling Zone podcast. Rick Del Santo, my pal, my buddy, my confidant, I believe he had Aldis on his show, and Aldis put over Odinson way back then, and that was, I believe, right when the NWA came back. I don't know if Rick's still in the chat, but if he is, feel free to say something. Doty says that Trevor will be facing both big hosses, probably a bloody brawlers on his first two title defenses. And look, who would make sense? for Trevor Murdoch to defend the 10 pounds of gold, I'm not saying he necessarily has to fight someone bigger than him, but it's not like you could really put him into a match with somebody like, say, Jonathan Gresham and expect to have a match that works out well. And that's not to insult Trevor Murdoch or Jonathan Gresham. It's just they excel at two different styles of wrestling, and I don't know how they blend that together. But say like, Michael Bennett, who's a lot smaller than Nick Aldis, they had a hell of a match, but that's because their styles are more in line. I think Trevor needs to go out there and beat people up. So his opponents need to be guys that can go out there and get beaten up and beat people up. Someone asked me the other day who would make sense to take the belt off of Trevor Murdoch, and the only answer I could come up with, and I know you guys are going to hate this one, but Braun Strowman, I think. I know that's not his real name. I know he's got whatever his real name is. I think it's Adam Schiff or something like that. He definitely, I think, would get people to notice the NWA, and certainly a guy who I think could really give Trevor Murdoch a run for his money. So, not that you guys were asking. Heeb says that Knox's finisher back in the day was a crossroads, a Sister Abigail looking maneuver. Okay. Was it called Knox Up? Because I think that'd be funny if it was. I make my wife laugh. Jody says 2D has been a jobber with almost no winning record in the NWA. Kylie better keep her on a special attraction with no serious push. No reason for them to win. I mean, that's a pretty good analysis right there, Jody. At some point, if they're using a person in particular, I think that they have plans for them. And I do feel like 2D Lynn has something very charismatic about her. I can't quite tell you what it is. I don't think it's the nunchucks. I think that's a bit goofy. But I feel like she really could be something big for the NWA. And in a promotion that's desperately would benefit from more inclusion, I think she fits the bill. Chris Drummond says Kiera is there to set up Deonna attacking Mickey. Interesting theory, Chris. Interesting indeed. Sorry, I had to get a drink. Bobby Petito says Sahara 7 is wrestling tonight on AEW against Layla Hirsch. Layla's going to wreck her. And I'm not trying to be a glib or mean or anything else, but that Layla Hirsch surprised me. And I'm not trying to be a chauvinist or anything, but she really surprised me. I did not know that that's who she was. And the match that she had with Camille, I felt like she really showed a lot. Bobby agrees with me. Natalia Markova versus Camille would be a money match. I think so. Rosville's in the house. What's up, Rosville? And you guys are you're on it today. Dodie says Darius Lockhart has potential to be the next Ricky Starks. Ooh, that's a great comparison. Dodie, that's great. You know what sold the NWA on Ricky Starks? It was those promos that he had on his YouTube channel. The 1-900 Starks, or the Starks Hotline, or something like that. And he got over on those. Like those were self-produced, or he paid someone to produce those. But those were all done not without a major production company, and it really caught the interest of the NWA. That's what got him on that pay-per-view, the 70th anniversary show, and that's definitely what got him into Power. So I think that's pretty dope. Roswell says it's a watered-down Kratos, in my opinion. Dude is a hard hitter. There's a reason why he's in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Absolutely. And look, I get that everyone has to have a role, right? Everyone has to have a place on the line. JR Kratos is a bad dude. No, he is not built like Jack Stane, and very few people are, but that doesn't stop him from being a big dude. And I think under the right set of circumstances, I don't know, what I would really like to see is Austin Idol get a stable. Maybe let's let Strictly Business fall by the wayside, and let's give Austin Idol a reason to really manage some young talents. I'm not saying JR Kratos is young, but I'm steering the ship in the wrong direction. I'm sorry, guys. Let's keep moving forward. Willie Bowen says, J. Cal, Tyrus is going to have his own TV series called The Man, His Knife, Fork, and Plate. Willie, if you guys are new to the show, Willie does not like Tyrus at all, and is always good to pop a joke every now and then. I love it. Firefly says, as much as I love Jack Stain, the obvious choice will be for Trevor to drop the title to Latimer. I mean, Latimer is a former NWA World Tag Team Champion, was not able to advance in the television title, the television title. Remember, he challenged Pope at the Back for the Attack, I think, and came up short. And he was unable to secure the national title qualifying match, or whatever, to crown a new national champion after Adonis vacated it. So, I mean, he's come up short. I would like to see him go after a few singles titles before we put the 10 pounds of gold on him. I'm not saying that Latimer needs to be TV champion to win the world champion, or he needs the national title. But right now, his hands are full with Aldis. And until that program's over, I don't think you're going to see him anywhere near the world's heavyweight title. And that could be a few weeks. That could be a few months. Hell, that could be all next year. So we'll see how that continues to continue to grow. I'm not sure what this is in lieu of, or what this is connected to, Firefly. If you want to make another comment, I'll comment on it. But whenever that's finally appropriate, I mean, I'm not really sure. Bobby Petito says that Roxy is wrestling on MLW on January the 21st. Yeah, Bobby Petito said that. Roxy is she's a prodigy, and I want to see more from her. I want to see big things for her. Willie says, what's up to Sean Mega? You guys don't need to hear that. Firefly says, all the worst material we've seen in the last year revolves around Tyrus. I mean, they didn't do him any favors by putting on matches that they've put on. I just feel like they really dropped the ball with Tyrus. There's nothing he's done that's been very memorable or even fun. I mean, the promos with Kyle might be the best thing that he's done, and that's just average at best. Bobby Petito says he would like to see Ruby Reyes get an opportunity to wrestle in the NWA, and I can tell you for what it's worth, I have spoken to Ruby Reyes. There has been no interest. Reyes is a dominant female wrestler. The NWA has currently a dominant female wrestler as world champion. I don't know if it would ever make sense, but I really do admire Reyes. She's somebody that I respect a lot. She's somebody that I like very much. And I think if there was any way to get the NWA to get behind Reyes, they would. If you guys want to see Reyes, I mean, start reaching out to the smaller wrestling promotions like Mission Pro or Hurricane Pro Wrestling, or your local wrestling promotion in your area, because the more her name gets out there, the more she'll become undeniable. Like Aldis said, go from a punchline to the headline. And I'm not saying that Reyes is a joke by any stretch of the imagination, but I think if she were to get these opportunities to wrestle more and more across the country, that more and more wrestling promoters would have their eyes on her. David Ali, yes, has been impressed. Let me try that again. David Ali has been impressive at Championship Wrestling from Atlanta. I would like to see David Ali get an opportunity to wrestle for the NWA. I believe he's an Atlanta-based talent. There's no reason why he couldn't. United Wrestling Network doesn't have contracts that prevent their talent from appearing elsewhere. I just don't know that the NWA wants to share talent with United Wrestling Network, especially when it comes to a show that's in their own backyard. Remember, although we just spent the last 6 months or so in St. Louis with the NWA, their bread and butter is Atlanta. So I don't know that they want to share that kind of talent. Might muddy up the waters a bit. Firefly says they seem to know what they wanted for Jax Dane, but it seems like they have no plan for what to do with a solo Crimson. I mean, I think you're speaking to the choir. Crimson, like I said, is a very talented individual. I just don't know what they want to do with them. And there's certainly vehicles there. There are opportunities there. There are ways to put him over. There are ways to get him over. We're still dealing with Jax. It just doesn't make any sense. Willie says that Boogie and Clearwater should stay with Power and Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against that. Boogie working with MLW is certainly getting his name out there, and at some point he might outgrow what the NWA needs from him. And I just don't see them continuing to use a guy who they can't really control. And doesn't, at some point he's going to want to get the money he's making at MLW in the NWA. It's, I don't know. I can't say that. I can't speak for Slice Boogie. I'm not friends with Slice Boogie. I'm not acquaintances with him. I've never talked to him. I know that, there's a reason why Danny Limelight isn't in the NWA, and it's not because he's not a great wrestler. It's because they just don't want to do business. So it's as simple as that. Bobby Batista said, last Sunday I watched a great match between Carl Fredericks and AC Max on Championship Wrestling from Atlanta. Carl Fredericks is one of the best talents to come out of the LA dojo. And without giving you too much information, my guy he's the best smelling wrestler. Smells like cocoa butter. You only know that if you go to the live events. But yeah, he's a great talent. He's I think he's one of the guys that's going to be carrying New Japan into the next millennium. Well, maybe not millennium, but my boy, the mayor's in the house. He says, happy birthday, boy. And that's me. It was my birthday a few days ago. No, I mean, I got no beef with Nick Aldis. I would like to see Aldis become champion again at some point. I would like to see a little bit longer reign with our pal Trevor. But there are a lot of guys I want to see with that belt. On the short list, Jack Stane is on top, more so than Aldis. I think Jack Stane could have a very dominant run as a World's Heavyweight Champion for a second time. I wish the NWA would be brave enough to do that. Bobby Petito says he'd like to see Christine James wrestle for CWF Atlanta. I believe she's based in Texas, like in San Antonio. I think. I could be wrong. So, I mean, anything's possible. Like, look, it's just a flight. But you never know. Bobby Petito, you are preaching to the choir, my friend. There's absolutely no reason that Barrett Brown isn't involved with this whole junior heavyweight title thing. I mean, at the very least, they could be setting up a great angle down the road for him to return to the NWA with his junior heavyweight title and just say, hey, you guys never beat me. I never surrendered this. You're a phony champ. You're a fake champ. You're a fraud champ because I have the belt and no one ever beat me for it. That's what I would do with it. Bobby Petito also wants to see Blonde Force Trauma show up. Heather Monroe, Ray Lynn. Firefly says that when it's appropriate for Trevor to drop the title, he should drop it to Latimer. There you go. And Firefly, it's not that I don't love Latimer, because I'll be honest, I think he's one of the best assets in the NWA. I just want to see him come out there and earn that title. I don't want them to. The last thing I want the World's Heavyweight Championship to be is like the golden watch at the end of your retirement. I don't want them to start handing out world championship runs because a guy put in his time. You have to be remarkable. You have to be memorable. A world's heavyweight champion should be the guy. I don't even know if I really felt like Trevor Murdoch is that guy. And I'm waiting for him to show me that he is that guy. Just because he beat Nick Aldis doesn't mean he's the greatest wrestler ever. And I'm really hoping to see what Trevor Murdoch can do as world's heavyweight champion, because he certainly hasn't done much of anything since winning the title. I mean, Willie, you're just talking about all the great women wrestlers, and I mean, nothing wrong with that, but they can't all fit in one spot. I don't mean to sound like negative, but the NWA just can't house everybody. And yes, they have a door, a carousel that talent come, talent go, but they can't have everybody. And the same thing with like United Wrestling Network. They just can't have everyone. Heather Monroe is the Memphis Heritage Champion. I think she'll probably play a role in the United Women's Championship when that is crowned. She's great talent. I don't think the NWA is going to be using her anytime soon. I hope I'm wrong. Jason Newsom's in the house. What's up, brother? Glad you're here. Willie, thanks for the birthday greeting. I appreciate that. Mayor says Bret Hart smells like pine trees. Man, was he wearing the Canadian tuxedo when you saw him? Craig S. is in the house. He says, I'm not sure about the NWA not willing to share talent with United Wrestling Network. Camilla's wrestled for Memphis, and I believe Adonis has as well. Yeah, pump the brakes, Craig. I'm not saying that United Wrestling Network isn't willing to work with them. I'm saying it's the other way around. If you check out what Memphis has done, they've brought in talents from AEW, they've brought in talents from Impact, they've brought in talents from the NWA, and they will continue to bring in talents from other promotions. I mean, I think next month they have Jordan Lynn Grace coming in. So, I don't think it's that way. I know that Dustin Starr doesn't have a problem with the NWA talents, and I don't think David Marquez has a problem with using NWA talents. I just don't believe, and I can speak from record because Sal Rinauro wrestled on the premiere of the Atlanta show, and so did a lot of other guys who were associated with the NWA. I just feel Marty Bell too. Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like this is it's one-sided. And who knows? Maybe I could be wrong, and things could certainly change. And Bobby Petito says he'd like to see Tony Deppen get an opportunity to wrestle on the NWA. He can wrestle as a junior heavyweight division for the NWA. And I think that would be great. The more talent, the better, guys. Like, please don't take what I say as I don't like the talent, or that I don't think, that the NWA cannot sign somebody. Look, I'm just a guy commenting on this stuff, right? I don't have any inside information. I'm not an insider. Nobody from the NWA tells me anything. But what I do have is, I do know some people in the industry, and I do know that certain talents will work wherever they can. In Atlanta, Sal Rinauro isn't under a contract that prohibits him from wrestling for Championship Wrestling from Atlanta. Maybe Billy pulls him aside and says, hey, I don't want you to do that anymore. But, I mean, if you're not under contract, I don't see that happening. And although Jordan Clearwater started in United, and he's got an opportunity to wrestle Chris Dickinson in 2022 for that United Wrestling Championship, there's nothing preventing him from working in the NWA. Hell, there's nothing preventing him from working New Japan Strong. In fact, when it all comes down to, if you had to choose one, I bet you Clearwater's choosing New Japan Strong. And that's okay. You got to go where who's going to pay you. So, man, you guys are taking it to the limit today. Bobby Petito says David Ali and Carl Fredrickson wrestle junior heavyweight division. You're absolutely right. Willie Bowen says Reno Scum, the Briscoes, Midnight Heat would be great for the tag team division in NWA Power. I mean, you're talking some of my favorites. If we were to head into, if we were to go to a Crockett Cup 2022. I mean, you just named three guys who I think three teams who I would be very interested in having a part of that. Reno Scum right now they're not even connected to United Wrestling Network. They're free agents. They're just waiting for someone to call them. Midnight Heat are your United Wrestling Network Tag Team Champions. They just won those titles. Pablo Esco of the Bodega recently won the United Wrestling Network Television Championship. We know that Jordan Cruz is still your United Wrestling Network Heritage Champion. And Chris Dickinson, although he's injured, it sounds like the United Wrestling Network is going to give him time to heal up before he makes his next title defense. But it probably won't be for a while. Bobby, you are correct. Taylor Russ probably could wrestle for that junior heavyweight division. And again, there's 12 people that they've announced to be a part of this qualifying match for the NWA. They also are using guys like Austin Aries and Rhett Titus. I mean, it's not a lack of star power. They certainly are trying to put a big pool of talent there. But at the end of the day, they can't keep all these guys under contract, and they can't prevent these guys from working elsewhere. And there's got to be a desire for that person to come in. I mean, if you're going to use Taylor Rust, who was just on WWE programming recently, who was just in Ring of Honor program recently, and it was just a part of the New Japan Strong show out here in Riverside recently, then, I mean, you got to make it worth his while. He's still he's still for a profit. He still wrestles to get paid. So I think I don't, it's not just as simple as, hey, what's up, putting you over. It's not just as simple as, hey, X wrestler should be here. No, I mean, it's got to be a mutually beneficial for both parties. And, if someone's coming off of a WWE contract and had been working with Ring of Honor before that, maybe they're not going to just come in for what the NWA could offer, especially in a position where they're not really like in a main storyline, right? There's a lot of financials involved too. Billy shouldn't just hire anybody to be a part of this NWA. Billy needs to get the best talent he can for his money that's going to propel the NWA forward. Taylor Rust is great. I love Taylor Rust. But how does he make the NWA better today? Does he have more value than Rhett Titus? Does he have more value than Austin Aries? Or does he have more value than some of the names that are in that elimination 12-man gauntlet? And if the answer is no, then no, you don't bring him in. But if the answer is yes, then by all means, please, because I'll be very much into that. Putting you over, man. I haven't seen you in a while. I do appreciate you being in here. I do appreciate your TikToks too. The mayor says, whatever happened to Adam Thornstow's solo run? He had a lot of momentum after winning that Thatcher's tourney. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like Adam Thornstow quite a bit. I would love to see him. I think I like him better as a tag team wrestler just because there aren't a lot of good tag teams out there. Holy crap, we're running out of time, guys. Real quick, I'll answer this last question, then we'll close it out for the day. Willie Bowen said, what is the status of Charlie Haas? Charlie Haas is still working I guess, in the Texas Independence. He is still currently your SWE heavyweight champion. I know that SWE is working with that World Class Revolution or whatever it is in Texas. I'm not super familiar with that. I'll ask DK about that. But I'm looking forward to see what happens with Charlie Haas and the whole SWE Fury thing. That promotion was very solid for a good chunk of time. Hopefully that in 2022 they can get back to running live events and get back to it. Putting you over says, I love the Midnight Heat. Midnight Heat are great, right? To me, they are the modern day Midnight Express. And I know that's why they have the name that they have, but they literally are. I would love to see those guys in the Crockett Cup. I would love it. And maybe even if they worked a tag team like FTR, I don't care if they go under in the first round. I think that they would absolutely fit in that episode or on that tournament. But that's going to do it. We're going to wrap it up, guys, because literally that other show starts in 3 minutes, the 10 pounds of gold. So I did want to say again, thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the pre-party. We'll be here next week, same bat time, same bat channel. I will be in Mexico this weekend, so I will be trying to get interviews with La Rebellion. If you see that, make sure you're staying tuned to this channel because all the interviews and everything else that you'll see by the Alliance blog will be right here on this YouTube or twitch.tv. Again, you can follow us on all social medias at the Alliance blog. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, anywhere you social, that's where we social too. And we'll be here Thursday night, I believe. I'm not 100% sure if we'll have a full party here, but we'll be here Thursday night. If you really want to support this blog, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. If you really, really like this podcast, we do sell merchandise. We're going to have some new merch coming very, very soon. We're working on some stuff that should be up very, very soon, hopefully within the Christmas season, in case you want to buy a gift for yourself or someone you care about. But until then, my friends, this is excellent. A huge pick-me-up on a Tuesday. Very much appreciated. You have yourself a good night, and we'll see you at the matches.